Hi, I'm Lisa, and welcome to the MTHFR Dementia Diva channel. And we here on this channel talk about MTHFR, which is a gene mutation, along with cognitive impairments and some of the challenges and some of the things that go along with that. So if you are a caregiver or in any one of those camps, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you'll know when we upload a new video. And today's video, we're going to talk about having cognitive impairment and traveling. Welcome back. I'm going to talk about 5 things that maybe we need to take care of and watch when we're traveling. I know that some people think that just because we're disabled we can't travel. That's can be further from the truth. Also, some of us with these problems think we can't travel for fear. Whether it is cognitive impairment, whether it is IBS, whether it's a heart condition, whatever your condition may be, does not mean that we have to stop living and stop doing those things that we enjoy. I actually had somebody tell me, I took my family about 4 or 5 years ago to Disney World, and I took somebody with me. We used a wheelchair everywhere we went. At that time I was having a really hard time communicating, and getting around. We used a scooter to get everywhere in the park. This is Strider, and Strider is one of our fur babies. Hi. So this is Strider, and I are going to talk to you for a little bit before he figures out that he doesn't like sitting here. But told us that must not have been disabled because we were able to go to Disney World. Well, you know what? Places make accommodations for those with disabilities. So no, you can't be disabled and travel. So don't feel guilty about that. Number 1, call ahead and talk to the people that you're going to be visiting. If you're going to go see family or you're going to go see friends, call ahead, talk to them, make sure they understand what your limitations are, what's going on. They may not understand that there's even a problem if you haven't talked to them in a while. So get them on the phone, talk to them, explain what special needs that you might have, what they need to watch for, what you can do, what you can't do, just things like that. You don't want to go in to somebody's home and be having one of those days where you can't tie your shoe or figure out how to brush your teeth and not be able to communicate to the person that you're visiting, because if they don't see you all the time, they're not going to know. So you need to educate those people that you're traveling with and educate those people you're going to see. If you have special needs that you need met while you're there, make sure they're aware of that and are willing to make those possible. Okay, this is one of those things that communication's of the utmost importance. If you have a reoccurring illness, it's like MS or some kind of chronic illness that fluctuates, and sometimes you need medical attention. These people need to be educated in when it's an emergency and when it's not, so that they know whether or not they need to seek medical attention for you. For example, I have recurring TIAs and strokes, and so if I start talking funny or looking odder than I already look, I know I've got the red hair, the bozo hair, and the freckles to go with it, but these things, if I'm having a TIA, I don't know it. I don't know that the words are coming out goofy. I don't know that I'm not speaking quickly enough that I've slowed down my speech. That when there's weakness, I make excuses. Sitting in the doctor's office when I had my TIA, and she's doing the test where they push on it, and my arm's going down, and couldn't go. And I made excuses through that whole thing about it was my shoulder, and my feet were, my legs were shaking. I couldn't find an excuse for that. That one kind of scared me. But people need to be made aware of that when you're traveling. Number 2, figuring out your mode of travel. Oh my goodness. Let me just say this. Fly. That goes out, just fly. Make it a direct flight so you don't have to make any connections. Fly. Because we drove. And oh my goodness. It was a killer. I have a hard time driving out of town. And we had to drive through mountains accidentally because of my stubbornness and wanting to get where we were going. Ended up in the DC Beltway. And I thought, well, it'll be okay because it's 11 o'clock at night, and so there won't be much traffic. Joke's on me. They got tons of traffic at 11 p.m. And this traffic's crazy. They got 6 lanes of everybody going. And my youngest son described it the best, and that it was like a game of stop and go. There was one point, I'm not kidding, 6 lanes of bumper-to-bumper traffic. 6 lanes came to a screeching halt all at the same time. All 6 lanes, everybody just stopped for no apparent reason. There was no reason to stop. There was nothing there. It was just, everybody just came to a stop, and then a couple seconds later, everybody went. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I took an exit I wasn't supposed to, and I was so frustrated that I turned around and I got in that little white area. I kept waiting to get picked up by the police, where the white lines are, because I was not going to mess this up, and got back on the Beltway and all that traffic, and I was scared to death. But good Lord watching over us, we did not have an accident. I don't know how, but we didn't have an accident. But anyway, back to the choices. Drive. That's up to you. That was probably my last trip I'll take driving. But drive. But you gotta, if that's not an issue for you, or you have somebody that can help drive or drive for you, then that's a whole different story. Or if you're just going down the road 2 hours, that's another thing. For vacationing 2 hours away, then maybe that's another one to drive. Train, bus, plane. The only issue I have that I'm scared of those is making connections, being in the right place at the right time, having an issue while there. How do I take my cane and my walker, or my walker and my wheelchair, or whatever it is I need at that time, or will need once I arrive? How do I get all of that on there? Do I have to, on the train, I tried to book train tickets to go out there, and I was so confused by the time I looked at those choices. We couldn't go by train if we wanted to. It had handicap rooms, and I thought, well, I don't know if I need a handicap room. And I have 3 boys, and so it was going to take like 24 hours to get there. And on the way back, it was going to take 2 days, and we were going to have a layover. And it was just like, no, I can't even imagine. So, train didn't work out for me. This obviously is not sponsored by Amtrak, is it? And so, and the bus, same thing, making connections. It just is scary to me, because what if I reverse my numbers? What if I forget and end up in Timbuktu and 3 boys and not knowing where I'm supposed to be or how I'm supposed to get there? Just too scary for me. Flying, making a connection is kind of scary too, but we talked about flying already. But those things might seem kind of simple, but they're not. For those that don't have any kind of Impairment. Sorry for my sun squint. I usually go like this when I'm out in the sun, so at least you're not getting the sun grin. but some people might be okay with these. I'm also stubborn, if you haven't figured out from my videos yet, but I'm very stubborn, and I wanted to drive out there because I wanted my car. So that was another thing. That way I could take whatever I needed. I didn't realize the drive was going to be as hard or as long as it was. Even coming back, had in the mountains and had to get my brakes replaced while we were there, but that was all right because they needed replaced anyway. But I killed them going over the mountain, and then coming. I was going to get them fixed before I came back because I didn't want to have to go down one of those emergency ramps. Crying out loud. Number 3. Should somebody go with you? Should you take somebody along? Yes. For me, yes. I like to take somebody along. Those people that truly understand what's going on, don't like me to go by myself. And when I say by myself, I don't mean not my kids. My kids were there, but my kids can't help drive. The oldest one's 13, so they kind of frowned on him driving the car. So, but yes, try to take somebody. I try to take somebody with me. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you're not to the point where you need that help. And fine, kudos to you. If you're past the point to where you don't feel comfortable by yourself, or you're kind of nervous, or you're kind of worried about what might happen in the meantime, then by all means, there's nothing wrong with taking somebody with you. I have a couple of friends that travel with me. This time they weren't able to go, but my father went with us this time and was a huge help. And was nice to have another adult there, particularly going around the beltway of Washington, D.C. He was able to that's when the kids decided to wake up and start talking and jabbering and asking me questions. And those of you with cognitive impairment know you can do one thing. You either drive or you talk. You don't talk and drive. And you either talk or you watch TV, but you don't talk and watch TV. We're very tunnel vision in that way. And so I remember at one point one son was asking me a question, and I said, I'm just trying not to kill us. And so my dad was able to turn around and say, hey guys, this is kind of dangerous. Let's not talk right now. Stay quiet right now. So till we get where it's safer. And so yes, it does help to have somebody, and that's just one example of many. That I am an advocate for taking someone with you, because you just never know, especially when things happen. But they can help you make connections. If you're flying or going on a bus or a train, they can make sure you get the right connections, help you with making the connections. If they understand that, well, of course they understand it. Why would you take them if they didn't understand it? But they'll help you make the connections so that you don't have to quite worry about it so much. I'm hoping that as my kids get older, they'll start figuring this stuff out, and then when they drive, let's go and travel. Number 4, take a true assessment of your limitations. I'm gonna have to peek on my paper here. Okay. Can you go for long periods of time without rest? Do you need rest every couple of hours? Are you a person that maybe can go for a day and a day and a day, and then the rest of the month is shot? You have to know. When I'm having good days, and people that know me and understand me are starting to figure out what I'm doing, because I got warned about this today. But when I have good days, and I know people that do this, so I'm not the only one. I'm not the only crazy apple in the bunch of. But when we have a good day, we want to get everything done. So today was the first day that I really felt like my old self. And so I went to physical therapy, and we're doing exercises, and I'm just chatting away. And believe it or not, I like to talk. So I I was talking, and when I got ready to leave, she said to me, she said, "Now don't you dare go home and overdo it just because you're feeling good today." And I said, "But the lawn needs to be mowed." And she said, "No, you go home and rest. Do not overdo it today just because you feel good." And so I didn't. It's one of those reminders we need. So we have to be aware of our limitations, because we don't want to take off and go on a vacation and use up all the energy and then not be able to enjoy the vacation because we're down on our back. So when you're planning your vacation, plan how far you can go, what you can do while you're there, how much rest time do you need to schedule into your fun time. You know, you have to rest sometime. A lot. And if you're going with able-bodied people, hopefully you're going with people that understand. You need to know how long you can be gone, how much time you need to recuperate. When you get back, is it going to be possible to recuperate? You've taken all that into account. And for people that don't have cognitive impairment, this sounds like a list. And I'm going to tell you, look, this is why we don't take off and go somewhere much. Number 5, emergency plan. Emergency plan. Oh goodness, this could be an arm list, but I shortened it down to 3 things, just to keep it short. Add things in the comments if you can think of them. But an emergency plan. And anybody needs to have an emergency plan. If you leave your house, you need to have an emergency plan. If you're in your house, you need to have an emergency plan. That's why you have smoke detectors, right? Okay? That's why you have phones and you call 911. You have an emergency plan. We have a basement. Not because I want to make sure I have a hole in the ground inside my house, but I had a basement put in when we built this house because I wanted some place to go and take my family and my animals in case when there was a tornado. So emergency plans. So emergency plans for everybody. But for those of us with cognitive impairment, emergency plans are extremely important. Extremely important. Somehow, and you know, vacations are expensive, but somehow you need to have extra money tucked away that's not allowed to be spent on any souvenirs or anything like that, or extra food or that kind of stuff. But it's just put away that in case you need to get home. What if you need to get home because something happens? You know, you may have to leave your car in San Diego because you can't drive back to Nevada. Well, if you had extra money, you can get on a plane, fly in, worry about your car later. Leave it at the airport. If you need to get out of there, then get out of there. But you have to have a plan to get out. And there might be many reasons that you would have that. But emergency plans. What about hospitals in the area? You know, if you had to go to the hospital, would they know what medications you're on? Did they know what diagnoses you have? If you're out of state, like in Indiana, no matter where I go, they pop me up on the computer and they've got everything in their brother. They know the last time I went to the bathroom. It's almost eerie and it's crazy. And they've got some things wrong too, I might add. But I'm taking care of that. I'm sicking some doctors on them to change some diagnoses that I don't know where they came from. It must have been somebody else they met with the name Lisa, but it wasn't me. Your real diagnosis. You want to have a list of your medications and the diagnoses that you really have, not the ones that somebody punched in by mistake. They put a .9 instead of a .2 or something, whatever. So make sure that you have all that. And I'm going to add a little bit to this. When you're planning on going on a vacation, the things that the things that we have to do are, it's so hard, and it's because of the impairment. It's not because we're lazy, but doing all the laundry that needs to be done, making sure that everybody has everything they need, making sure I do. I've gone on a vacation and forgot to take all my underwear, so everything has to be written down. You have to get your house ready. You can't just walk away from a house, well, see you later. You have to make a list. You have to get the paper stopped. If you get the paper, you have to get the mail stopped, because you don't want people knowing you're not there. You need to get somebody to come and take care of things around the house to make it look like you're there. Though we are really bad about, I'm sitting outside looking at this grass that is terribly high, I think, and needs to be mowed terribly bad. Only they won't let me do it. Watch me do it anyway. Also, extra money in case you need a hotel room to recuperate. Someplace you can go and just sleep, earplugs in, sleep, until you can regain enough energy to rejoin the group, rejoin the vacation, or drive home, or get home. Those are all things that you need to plan for. Any handicap devices that you need on the other side that you can't take with you, can somebody on the other side make those arrangements and get those for you? That's a lot harder than people think, so I wanted to make this video for those people that had the cognitive impairment.